how do you stay mentally strong? I think we don't talk about that enough, especially as Black folks. I'm gonna just go ahead and say that it is what it is. But I feel like we don't talk about mental health enough.
I don't think I started getting to the point that I'm at right now until I actually started seeing a therapist on a consistent basis. Even the affirmation that I tell myself on a day-to-day basis, like if you was to read what I tell myself, you'd be like, this man sound crazy. Like I really be writing in my journal, like
Bryce, man, you might help somebody. Go on, give us one. Can we have one affirmation? Because we try to be Olympic gold medalists too. I
what
mean,
affirmation.
in life.
One thing I tell myself that
What is up, loud and clear family? So my next guest, oh my goodness. So he and I actually sat on a panel together at Texas A&M University. It was for the Black Aggie Impact Gala. And we were both on a panel. And obviously, he's a freaking Olympian. So we knew that he was doing the doggone thing already. But when it comes to just this man's heart, his resilience, and the work that he's been doing, I just want to introduce you to him. So this is a show, you guys know, where we bring the change makers, the trailblazers, and the stories that spark transformation. And today I have the distinct honor, yes, of sitting down with someone whose story is as inspiring as it is groundbreaking. He's not just a professional sprinter, he's a force of nature, a symbol of resilience, and really proof that champions are built both on and off the track. Bryce Deadmon is a two-time Olympic gold medalist, a record-breaking sprinter, and a proud son of Mo City, Texas. From setting records on the global stage with Team USA to overcoming personal challenges that would have stopped most in their tracks. Y'all see what I did there. Bryce embodies what it means to have the heart of a champion. A Texas A&M graduate and a member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, Bryce has used his platform to inspire and uplift his community, redefining what success looks like for Black athletes, really, in my opinion, for all athletes in the world of elite sports. In Tokyo and Paris, he not only ran for the gold, but helped shatter an Olympic record with Team USA, showing the world that the true meaning of teamwork and determination. Off the track, Bryce continues to shine as a role model, using his voice to encourage others to turn setbacks into setups for major comebacks. Now, today we're diving into his journey of resilience, how he's navigated injury, self-doubt, and the pressures, because we know it's a lot of that, of being on the world's biggest stage. We'll explore his experiences as a Black man in a sport often under the microscope, and how he stayed grounded in his faith and in community. Bryce Deadmon isn't just running races, he's running a legacy that inspires generations. Loud and clear family, let's welcome the phenomenal, the unstoppable, the gold standard of excellence, Bryce Deadmon. Hey, Bryce.
hey Tashara, how you doing?
I am well. Was that a decent intro for you?
Hey, look, I was just about to say, had you asked me to write a bio or like an intro to bring out to this show, it wouldn't have been nowhere close to that at all. So I appreciate that. I really appreciate that.
I appreciate you, Bryce, for making time for me. So obviously, I knew about the Texas A&M connection, right?
Mhm.
But when I saw you was from Mo City, I was like, now hold on, now I'm from Houston, okay, by way of Trinity Garden, Texas. But I could imagine maybe our stories are a little bit similar as far as our backgrounds, and really, again, nowhere near where you are as far as accomplishments, but just backgrounds and where you are today. And so I want to
Mhm.
ask you, like, being from Mo City, Texas, when you think about where you grew up, right, and where you are today, did you see this happening? And just tell me a little bit about that part of it.
Um, I don't know if I would say I saw it happening. When I was growing up, especially when I was in high school, coming up through high school, like Elkins and Ridgepoint and whatnot, I didn't have nearly the amount of confidence in myself that I do now. Now I will say I saw a lot of people, especially from Missouri City and the surrounding areas, going pro or getting D1 scholarships and whatnot. So I knew it was, how can I put it? I knew it wasn't impossible. Like it was people I was going to school with who was getting scholarships to major D1 programs, going pro in some of their sports. Some people would come back to Elkins to speak to us who had went to the NFL and whatnot. So I knew it was possible. I just didn't know if it was possible for me. The self belief that I have in myself now took years on years on years to build up.
Hmm.
I honestly think the scholarship that I got from A&M coming out of high school was just based off of pure talent because I had no idea how to kind of just harness my confidence and put that into my sport, into my everyday life to get everything out of myself the way I do now by any stretch of the meaning.
So I do want to ask you, Bryce, just as it relates to your story. So let me tell you, I am a track fiend, if we can call it that. I love, 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 love track, man. I promise you, I be in my house watching y'all on TV. I'm like, you better go get them. You better go get them.
I
So
appreciate that.
I love it, man, so much. I ran track in grammar school, but baby, I ain't even about to sit here and play like, I was that, whatever. No. I just really, 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 really enjoyed the sport. Like how people like football and basketball and all that other stuff. No, like I love track. So anytime it comes around, I am ready for it. So I did go back today and rewatch, and I can't tell you how many times I watch these races because the 4x4 gonna always hit, okay? Every time. So I went back and I watched the men's 4x4 from the Olympic Games. And that third lead, Bryce. Can you take me back for real? Like, how were you feeling like running that, seeing where you guys were in the race as far as how far ahead you were, and then what you did on your leg? So can you take me back to that moment? What was that moment like for you?
Oh, that's a good question. So I will say, I'm not gonna say I was doubting myself in that moment, but so before we got that gold medal in the 4x4, we had broke the record in the 4x4 mixed relay in the
Yep.
preliminary round
Yep.
and came back in the finals and got second.
I know.
And I will say I definitely played a part in that because I definitely did not run my best leg by any stretch of the meaning in that final. And I'm like, wow, like had I ran what I ran in the prelims in that finals, we for sure would have got this gold. And after that, I was actually getting a lot of crazy like comments on my post and like people like saying like some wild stuff to me. And I had got off of social because I was like, you know what, I'm not even going to engage in this. I had kind of caught I personally caught myself getting kind of irritated and ready like to respond and clap back at people online. I'm like, Bryce, you need to calm down. Like, bro, just get off of social media. Like, you don't even need to be doing that. So I'm not gonna say I was doubting myself, but there was a thought in the back of my head, like, wow, like what if I don't perform or do what I need to do, and the same thing happens, if not on a even worse scale.
Mm.
So I remember my coach had talked to me after that mixed relay. And he told me straight up, he was like, that definitely wasn't your best run, but you can make an adjustment. I just need you to do this at this point of the race. Do what you've been doing all year, trust in yourself, like you've been running consistent all year. Like there's no reason why you wouldn't be able to do it in this final round. And I really appreciate him for that. He kind of definitely grounded me after that. And I remember I seen we was kind of neck and neck with what Botswana and Great Britain when I got the stick, and I was like, Bryce, you just gotta go and just let all the training that you had and your muscle memory take over and shoot. I just took off and and once I take off, it's kind of just like a blackout from there. It's kind of just like I said, muscle memory. I'm just doing what I've been doing for the entirety of the year, or even just throughout the entirety of my track career. And I just let that take over and I personally believe I put us in the best situation to win after I got that baton, that third
Mhm.
leg for our fourth leg to bring it home and get that first place gold medal.
Already, because you out of that H time, okay? It's
Yeah.
what we do. I you know what, Bryce, you mentioned something that I wanted to ask you. You mentioned, staying grounded, right? Or that the coach grounded you when, he kinda pulled you to the side and said what he said. And so I wanna ask you, how do you stay grounded? I know your faith plays a huge role in all that you do, but how do you stay grounded in everything and all the fame and, popularity and really everything that comes along with that big stage? How do you stay
Mhm.
grounded?
I would say performance wise, I stay grounded. I kind of have a list of affirmations that I tell myself. I try to tell myself and write down every morning. And I really, even if I don't write them down, I've written them down and performed them in my head so many times. I kind of just say themselves to myself throughout the day. Even when I'm at practice, I'll just be like, Bryce, this is going to be the best practice you've had. Um, there's no reason why you can't make it through this. You are one of the best athletes to touch the earth. I kind of tell myself some stuff that sounds delusional, but I kind of feel like once you get to a certain point, um, there's no way you would be able to succeed or reach the heights that you want to reach without sounding somewhat delusional. I mean, like I don't think like if someone was just walking around here saying they're gonna win a gold medal in the Olympics one day, I mean, of course, people would be like, "Oh yeah, you should do that." But I mean, how many people really think, "Okay, like this is a real possibility"?
Mm-hmm.
So I would say grounded in that sense, performance wise, just constantly repeating to myself just positive affirmations throughout the day. And even in that situation in the 4x4, when I told you I was kind of getting crazy messages after that mixed relay, shoot, I just kind of went back to what I always do. Like everything will be okay. There's no such thing as a perfect race. You're not gonna be perfect every single time you touch the track. That's
Mm-hmm.
impossible.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you'll be good. You will be fine. So that coupled with what my coach was kind of telling me in my ear after that kind of helped me um stick to the plan and not kind of just fold and falter as the Olympics went on. And in my personal life, I don't really know. I've always been a person who cared about the people around me or just wanted
Mm-hmm.
to make as many friends as possible, wanted to meet as many people as possible. And I understood or I saw from other people who I kind of grew up around who were getting scholarships or were like kind of star players or star athletes in high school and college. I kind of seen how sometimes their attitude would rub people the wrong way, or
Mm-hmm.
they would come off as brash, as unapproachable, or just above somebody. And I kind of just was like, I never want to be like that. Like I love my people. I never want people around me to believe that they can't speak to me or have a relationship with me. I mean, so I think that's how I kind of keep myself grounded in my personal life. That and kind of just always hanging out with friends and family, trying to be active in the community, trying to join different organizations, meeting as many people as possible. So that's honestly what I do from a performance standpoint and just from a personal standpoint.
That's good stuff, man. What advice do you have for other young people, that look at your story, that look at what you've been able to do, those that may have went to high school or attended the same high school as you,
Mhm.
after you, of course. But what advice do you have for young folks? Because I think a lot of times people that they admire can sometimes get mixed up in the wrong crowds, or they can have all these negative influences. And I know from the communities that we're from, there are a lot of negative influences out there. Okay.
Yeah, sure
So
can be.
what advice do you have for young people?
Um, oh, that's a tough question. I mean, because when you're young, it's so easy to get swayed in the wrong direction, especially when
Mhm.
you kind of don't have a sense of yourself or you still trying to figure yourself out, you still trying to fit in. That's actually a very good question. I would say for the most part, always know what your end goal is and your end mission is. Remind yourself of that on a consistent basis and try your hardest to align yourself with that. If you're trying to go to school and major in a certain major, what classes, what AP classes can you take? What group of people are trying to get to the same university as you? What resources are there out there to get you to that university? Who can help you get there? And I think even that building your circle in that sense will kind of keep you grounded, keep you going to where you want to and where you're trying to go.
Mhm.
Honestly, I think that would probably be the best thing for sure. Yeah, your circle plays a major determining factor in where you'll go in life for sure. It like I said, it's extremely easy to get caught up caught up with the
Oh
wrong
yeah.
crowd for sure. I'm thinking about even some of the people I grew up with, who were very talented or had a lot of potential, who kind of just fell to the wayside because I mean they got like I mean like you were saying, got caught up with the wrong people. Or just got caught up doing the wrong thing, and one decision kind of just like blew everything up, and everything that had worked for it basically went down the drain to an extent.
Mm.
A lot have rebounded from it, a lot haven't. I mean, but it's just like, shoot, if you was in that position, why even have to be in a position again to try to rebound from it when you had it in your hand to begin with?
Mm.
So I would say that just constantly just analyze your circle. Who are you hanging around? What are you doing personally to get to the goals that you're trying to get to? How do your everyday actions align with that? I would say. And then from another standpoint, just understanding that there will be setbacks and things like that that will kind of deter you. But sure, even the setbacks are part of the plan. Unfortunately, I mean, of course, it's it's never good to have a setback or seem like
But
things
it
aren't
happens.
working out. That yeah, let it happen. That's a part of the plan. All of those are learning experiences. You know what to do next time. You know what not to do next time. you know what route to take next time. Shoot, just stay patient and stay the course. Every I like to tell myself all the time, everything will work out exactly how you want it to work out if you
Mm.
just stay the course and stay patient. Like I used to compare my trajectory to other people who I went to school with. Like for instance, I had a teammate who went pro and signed like a huge contract after his first year at A&M. And I didn't get to that same point until I was what 6 years in. I had graduated
Hmm.
from my master's degree and I was 24. He was 18 when he got his turn, and I was 24 when I got mine. But we still both got there, and that's the main thing.
Absolutely.
Shoot, yeah, I mean your journey can take a lot longer time than the next person, but that don't mean you're not gonna get there at
I
all.
think that that reminds me of this saying when people are always like, you can't be out here comparing your like day 10 to somebody's like year 5 or year 3 or whatever the case may be, right? Like you don't know
100.
what their trajectory was to get to that point, right? You don't know what they gave up, even for example, at 18 years old versus when you ended up going pro. I just think that sometimes we compare ourselves, myself included. Okay, I am not excluded from the conversation. Um, I just think we compare ourselves to people because we see and see what certain individuals have at certain points in their lives, and I do think we can get caught up in that. You mentioned
Uh,
something, and this may be the same situation, but you mentioned your kind of your journey, your trajectory. Was there ever a moment where you felt like giving up, and what pushed you to keep going even in that moment?
there was a hundred thinking about giving up. I tried to give up. I tried to. And I wouldn't even say it was myself that kept me in it. It was more so the fact that I came home and told my parents I was trying to quit, and it was like, I mean, that's fine. You can do what you want to do, but
Mm.
I mean, you gonna have to transfer schools because we're not gonna pay for your tuition there. And I was like, oh,
Ooh.
I mean, so even that, like I said, sometimes the setbacks and hard times are part of the plan. I mean, and you'll have people around you that you're not even realizing at that point in time will kind of keep you directed on the
Yep.
right path without
Yep.
you even knowing that's what's happening. Like, yeah, no, like I had no intentions of running track. What was this? I think going into my junior year, after my sophomore year, I was 100% about to quit. I had been injured for 2 years straight.
Wow.
I
Mhm.
wasn't running. I seen all of my people that I came in with in the class of 15 in school like flourishing, and I wasn't doing nothing. I was like, you know what? Like I can have a lot more fun on campus. I ain't got to practice every day, and I'm just discouraged. I'm just tired of not being where I want to be, and that was discouraging in itself. Um, and like I said, sometimes you'll just run into people who push you back onto the right path. Sometimes it can be people in your friend circle. Sometimes it can be people in your family circle. I've even heard of people with just a random instance where someone kind of had an epiphany talking to a random person. And they was like, okay, I need to get back on what I was trying to do. And you'll never even realize until a couple years later down the line, like, wow, like had I self-destructed or self-sabotage how I was about to, I would not be in this position that I'm in right now. I mean, shoot, like I said, that's even an important factor in making sure you got the right circle around you or you
That part.
in the
Say
right
that.
area. Yeah.
That's good, man. That is good. I do want to ask you too. You mentioned the injuries, right? So you
Mhm.
obviously overcame those injuries that could have ended your career. How do you stay mentally strong? I think we don't talk about that enough, especially as Black folks. I'm gonna just go ahead and say that it is what it is. But I feel like we don't talk about mental health enough. So mentally, you talked about, man, I could just be enjoying campus. I ain't got to go to
Mhm.
practice. The strenuous activity that you guys have to put in to be the type of athletes that you want to be. How did you say stay, I should say, mentally strong? And were you always mentally strong during this process?
No. No, no, no,
Mhm.
no, not even close. Like I said, my mental fortitude is something I have been working on for years. I'll probably say from high school, I don't think it clicked for me maybe until probably like my last year. Honestly, my last year at A&M when I was 24. So I'll probably say all throughout high school up until the time I was 24. It took me to kind of build up to where I'm at right now. And I will say it that I think the fact that Black people don't take mental health serious enough was a factor in as to why I didn't get to where I'm at sooner.
Mm.
I mean, because it's kind of taboo in our community to go see a therapist or
Yep.
or admit that you're going through depression or admit that you have a lot of anxiety, it's always kind of just like ain't nothing wrong with you. Like you'll be fine, just overlooking it when there's an issue there to be addressed.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I started getting to the point that I'm at right now until I actually started seeing a therapist on a consistent basis. Going out and looking up different resources as to how people got their confidence, kept their confidence, or got through their personal struggles. And that included just going to buy self-help books, listening to YouTube videos on athletic performance. I was just throwing
Wow.
stuff at the wall trying to figure something out. I was like, I gotta
I
figure
gotta get
something
out of
out.
this, man.
Like I gotta figure something out. Like I have to figure something out. But like I said, I definitely don't think mental health in the Black community is taken serious enough. I think it's getting a lot better now.
Yes, it
I hear
is.
a lot of people kind of like in the late 20s, early 30s, late 30s, reaching out and going to see therapists more than I ever did growing up. So I
Yep.
definitely think it's the wheels are turning on that for sure. But I definitely think that was a major factor. You like the I don't think people realize how much confidence plays a role in where you get to in life. Like it is literally a night and day difference. Literally a night
Really?
and day
Talk
difference.
about it. Talk about it.
Shoot, like I said, even the affirmations that I tell myself on a day-to-day basis, like if you was to read what I tell myself, you'd be like, this man sound crazy. Like I really be writing in my journal, like
Bryce, man, you might help somebody. Go on, give us one. Can we have one affirmation? Because we trying to be Olympic gold medalists too. I
what
mean,
affirmation.
in life.
One thing I tell myself that I just truly believe in, and this was probably my first affirmation. I didn't even realize it was an affirmation until I started getting into therapy on a consistent basis. And my therapist at the time was like, "You need to write down a list of positive affirmations to tell yourself on a day to day basis." And I was like, "Oh shoot, I've been doing that and didn't even realize."
Mm,
But like I said, it didn't really start clicking for me until my last year at A&M when I was in my master's program. I had read this book by one of my professors who was a sports psychologist. He actually made us read his book for his class, and I
of
was like, I
course
don't
he
want to
did.
read this. But it was crazy because it helped.
Okay.
And he was just showing like the research behind having like these delusional beliefs, or what, not delusional, but just high believing beliefs, I would say.
Yeah.
And I remember after I read that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go into every race telling myself I'm the best athlete on the face of the planet and see how it turns out. And shoot, that was probably the best season of my career at A&M. Anytime I would get on the line, I'd be like, this is about to be my best race I've ever had in
Come
my life.
on.
Every single time. Sometimes I would get beat, sometimes I wouldn't, but just the progression and the consistency of the times that I was running was something that I had never done my entire time there. Like I think I set a personal best almost every single time I touched the track that year, which is crazy. And
Talk
like I said,
about it.
sometimes I would get beat, but then after I would get beat, I would come back and tell myself, okay, he beat me this race, but that don't have no, like that has no effect on what's gonna happen next week. And if he
Mhm.
beat me the next week, then that ain't got no effect on what's gonna happen the next week. Like you just like sometimes you just gotta keep lying to yourself, like I'm the coldest, and until you show me I'm not the coldest, then I mean
That
that's what it
part.
is. But even when you show me I'm not the coldest, that don't mean I'm not gonna be the coldest one day. So like I said, just constantly repeating that to myself. And I found myself just in a position I never thought I would be in, making the Olympic trials and making the Olympic team and getting my first gold medal that year. And like I said, just the constant reassurance and affirming myself on a consistent basis really changed the trajectory of everything that I was doing. I started applying that to my everyday life and started seeing results. It was actually crazy. It was actually crazy. It was very crazy.
You gotta be crazy. You gotta
You
be
have you
crazy
have
to
to be
believe in these things, man. For real.
crazy. Yeah, no, to get crazy goals, to reach crazy goals, you gotta think crazy. That's like you said. That's the
Yes.
only way you're gonna get there. That's and you know what I always said, like you will never any single time, because I used to be an extremely negative person, and I realized this.
Really,
I
Bryce,
was
I
like,
would never attribute that to you, like at
yeah,
all,
no,
man.
100%. I was extremely pessimistic. I just didn't have any self confidence or self belief in myself.
Mm,
Um, and I started realizing anytime I kind of like catastrophize an event or always like thought the worst was going to happen. That is literally what happened about 90% of the time. And I was like, once I kind of changed my mindset, I was like, okay, Bryce, you see from this, anytime you are constantly thinking negative, there is a very strong possibility that this, like, anything that you're thinking of is probably going to happen.
Mm.
But if you constantly thinking positive, like, yes, bad things can happen, but I mean, look at what you accomplishing while you thinking positive. Like, you will always have a negative event come out of you thinking negative, but you will never just have a consistent string of a negative events coming out of you thinking highly of yourself or thinking everything is going to work out. Like, of course, everything doesn't work out on a day-to-day basis, but I mean, look at the heights that you're reaching by constantly believing in yourself. You was never reaching these heights when you was always down and pessimistic.
Oh, that's good. That is so good. You gonna save somebody with this one. I'm just saying. I look, we talked on the panel when we were in College Station a few weeks back. But I gotta ask you, what that book at that we talked about? What a book at, Bryce? Have we
Which
talked to
book?
the book? A book that you need to write. That's what book.
The book. Oh. I don't know about writing no book. I don't know.
Bryce, please, man.
I don't think I didn't accomplish that much to write a book. That's
Bryce,
crazy
are
right
you
now.
kidding me? Did you really just say that?
I
Bruh.
mean, I mean, I didn't learn some stuff, but I mean, I'm only 27. Like, what exactly
Bryce.
is just groundbreaking about what I done did so far?
Are
Like,
you kidding me? Do you know hearing you talk? Let me just tell you something on a personal level. Hearing you talk about how you not only went to therapy, okay? Because a lot of people will go to therapy and it's like performative work, right? Meaning they go to therapy, they listen to what the therapist say, and then they get around their friends or family, whoever they get around, and they say, "Oh, I've been going to therapy, I've been doing this," but have you been doing the work? So to hear that you
and that's
have
the
been
hardest
going to
part.
therapy, I can hear how you talk about therapy and how you talk about reading books and how you talk about searching YouTube. I can hear in your spirit and in your words that not only did you do all that searching and looking, but you actually worked your hardest to try to apply what you were learning. And that
Look,
made a
I had to.
significant difference in your life. So you asked about writing a book. Do you know how many people, how many black men in particular are struggling with not only going to therapy, right? But also applying what they learn in those therapeutic sessions. So yeah, you got a book in your Bryce. I'm just saying.
We
Please.
gonna see. We gonna see.
Man, that's
We gonna
crazy.
see.
That is crazy. I do want to ask you this. So track and field, it's
Mhm.
often seen as the individual sport. Yeah. But the relay that requires obviously a team effort, team mentality. You talked about the mixed relay and you know how you felt like you should have ran a better third leg on that one. What
Mhm.
has it been like for you being a part of Team USA, and what has it taught you about collaboration and really trusting the people that's on your team?
Oh, what has being on Team USA taught me about collaboration? Um, so I would say it has definitely taught me how to keep relationships and build relationships from afar. So most of the people well, not even most, all of the people I run with on the 4x4, the mixed relay, I don't see until like the major championships like that. Like, for instance, that 4x4 team, Rob Benjamin, our last leg, I had probably seen him probably maybe like once out of the entire year, up
Really?
until that point. So I started seeing how important it was to kind of keep up with people, keep track
Mm,
of people, kind of ask people like, hey, how everything going? Training been good, your training's been good, how you been going, how you been doing personally. I started learning how important that was to keep up those relationships from afar. So when we get in those moments, it's not like I'm running on a team with four strangers.
mm,
Just out the simple fact, like I said, we hardly see each other throughout the year. So I learned how important that is to kind of just keep up relationships with people who aren't in constant reach of me, who I'm not seeing on an everyday basis. I would say
mm,
that,
mhm,
and even just seeing the amount of like seeing all the people who I run against or used to train with or used to run against in college on Team USA really excites me a lot. I'm like, wow, you really doing the thing. Like,
okay,
you
period.
like you really doing it. And that really excites me seeing like some of my friends, some of my old teammates really like excelling. Like, and I'm like, wow, like not only does it get me excited, but it also gives me hope. Like, okay, like you just did this major thing. Like, I know my blessing is right around the corner. Like,
Yeah.
like you elevating. I know I'm finna elevate sometime soon. It gives me hope. It excites me. Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. Just seeing the people that I've been around on a consistent basis performing at a high level is really inspiring.
Man, I love that. You mentioned something that I think a lot of us struggle with when it comes to relationship, right? You talked
Mhm,
about how you try your best to keep up with your not necessarily your teammates, but perhaps maybe your teammates at some point throughout the
mhm,
year. And I think that is so important from a standpoint of just everyday life because I think everyone gets in their bubble, everyone is running, everybody's doing all the things that they're doing. And I have this one friend, and I told her this. Her name is Andrea James, and when I
mhm,
tell you she makes everyone, and I know I'm not her best friend, like I'm just not in that lane for her. But
mhm.
one thing that she does and she does very well, and I told her, man, that is a skill set. She makes sure she keeps up with everybody. And this woman is busy. Attorney, does very, very well, working long hours all the time. But she always makes sure that she tries her best to keep up with people. I'm like, man, how does she do that? So to hear that you're trying to make sure that you keep up with individuals throughout the year as best you can because I know you're just as busy as they are. I
Mhm.
just think that's a skill set that you'll never not use, right? Like keeping in touch with
It
people.
for sure is a skill set, and
Mhm.
I'm gonna be so very honest with you. I think social media makes it a lot easier to do that because
Yeah,
it's
absolutely. Sure. Absolutely. We're
social
gonna
media.
use what we
Social
got.
media make it exactly, exactly. Yeah, no, I see someone post something, and then I'll start a conversation just
Yep.
based off of what somebody posts. Then that turned into, hey, we need to hang out. I'm gonna call you sometime later this week. Like social media has definitely made that a whole lot easier. A
You know
whole
what,
lot
too,
easier.
Bryce? I'll argue too that sometimes people will say social media has made it harder, and let me tell you why I say that. It's because they're not using it how you're doing it. So you're saying, "Hey, like let's catch up. Let's 1, 2, 3, nice picture, whatever." Right? You're using it that way, and you're trying to take that conversation outside of just
A
Instagram
hundred
or
percent.
TikTok or whatever. But other people, they feel like if they leave you a comment, every 6 months, then we Gucci. And I'm like, no, that's not
At
the same
all. That ain't
as taking
nothing
that
at all.
conversation.
At all. Shoot, speaking of that, so one of my old high school classmates, she moved to New York for her job, I think right after she graduated from her master's program.
Mhm,
And I hadn't seen her in what? I hadn't seen her since we graduated high school back in 15. I just caught up with her last year for the first time when she came back from New York for Christmas break.
mhm.
And she came back last year. We went out, we hung out. She went back and she coming back out here this year again, and we hanging out again. So it was like, shoot, had I not reached out
Oh,
to her last year, yeah, yeah, we probably
you'd have
wouldn't
made
even
a
had a
little tradition of y'all seeing
relationship
each
we
other
have.
on Christmas around Christmas time.
Exactly, 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 exactly,
And I
exactly. So
really feel
even
like
stuff
that's
just
what
like
life
that.
is about too. Go ahead, Bryce. I'm sorry.
Oh no, 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 no. I'm listening.
I was just gonna say, I really feel like that's what life is about. I feel like a lot of times, we get so, intertwined in our careers and what we got going on. And man, you miss those moments. I'll say so. I mentioned this during our panel when we were at A&M, but I just transitioned out of a full-time TV news career,
Mhm.
local TV that is. And so one of the things that I have been so grateful for since I have not been going to work every morning at 1:45 a.m., waking up to go to work for 3. Look, say that. That's what
For
I'm talking about.
3, you was on the morning news?
Yes, morning news, man. Yes.
Jesus. Hey,
And
3
that is
3 is
a
crazy.
tough schedule. And I was just gonna say, like, I miss so many, and not just because I was on the morning news, but just in TV news in general. You ain't getting, I mean, it's like what you do too, right? You're not getting those holidays off and stuff like that. Those are sometimes your biggest days. So you're gonna be at work on holidays. Like it's not normal to be off for holidays when you're in TV
Mhm.
news. And so, anyways, I miss so many events, so many gatherings, so many of these friends events. I had one friend call me out big time. She was like, "Now look, you done missed 3 birthdays already. We gonna have to figure something out because you
I
missing
feel
too
that.
much." And so
I feel
I really appreciate now being able to go to like one of my younger brothers, my younger siblings. He plays football, high school football. So I can go down to Houston in the middle of the week and go see him play a football game. And
yeah.
so just those moments. So I'm glad to hear that you're trying to, keep those friendships alive and those relationships well, because that's what really pays off in the end. Like we can get all the accolades all day long, but those relationships, man, really, really, really
Worth it way
pay
more.
off.
Yeah, no. I definitely done been in the situation that you talking about. I mean, shoot, even with me traveling for these track meets throughout the year, like I'll be on the road at least like 2 to 3 times a month once April hit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be missing birthdays, I'll be missing family functions, events, and I'll be like, shoot, I feel like I'm just so out the mix. And I really hate that. So during the off season, I really try to make sure I focus on seeing people and hanging out and just doing what I can to keep in touch with people.
And I feel like you're being intentional about it. That's really what it's about, some intentionality behind everything that we do. I do want to
100.
ask you, as a black man on a global stage, on the global stage, how do you navigate the duality of being both, let's say, a role model and being an athlete?
A role model and an athlete. Um, you know what? And I was just having this conversation with somebody the other day. Um, I always hear so many people talk about like media training or you need to present yourself a certain way, especially as a black person, not even as a black man, as a black person in general.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
already some stereotypes out about us, and how we act, how we talk, etc. Or even how we carry ourselves, our culture, all of that. And I just got to a point, and I wouldn't even say recently. It kind of just was just building up. I was like, I'm so tired of having a code switch or putting on the front and acting a certain way. I mean, and not that I'm just like some ignorant like crash out or anything like that, but just like, oh, you have to talk this way, like you got to get rid of your accent, or you can't say this
Mm-mm.
about this. And I'm just like, I'm a black man in America. I didn't get to the point to where it's like I don't want to try to mask or hide my culture from nobody. I'm not ashamed of where I come from. I'm not ashamed of my people. I'm not ashamed of my culture, any of that. So anytime I'm in media or on the camera, I just try to exemplify and let people know that I am black, whether that's not like trying to code switch from the accent that I have, or speaking on certain topics that are going on in regards to black people, in regards to stereotypes about black people. Um, and I really wanted to make that a point because I just want to let other people know, especially younger people, like it is okay to be yourself. Like you
Yep.
don't have to whitewash yourself in order to be accepted. And once you actually show your authentic self, especially as a black person, trust and believe your black community and your black people watching you are going to rally behind you. I
Say
mean, and
that.
that's how we've accomplished so much in America as black people. So yeah, I think that was the main thing. I think that was one of the main things I've kind of grown into. I don't want to have to code switch anymore all the time. I don't want to have to try to act like this token black person. I don't ever want to be
Oh,
that
talk
token black person
about
ever.
it.
I don't ever want to be
Yes.
this black person. Just I want to show up as my authentic self. With my southern accent. If
Mm-hmm.
I got my hair in a certain way, I'm gonna rock my hair in that certain way. The only way we're gonna break down these barriers and make things acceptable is if more of us start pushing the boundaries on what's acceptable and what's
Yep.
not. Like for instance, people showing up to school with dreads and principals telling them they gotta cut the dreads out their hair because dreads are in it, like that, like stuff like that is crazy. But I think if more of us started showing up like that,
Yep.
um, enforcing our culture into these spaces, they aren't going to have a choice but to accept it for what it is. So
Period.
I
Let me
think,
find out you did some research. But I don't know if you know a lot about my background, but I did a lot of work to make sure that I could amplify some of the conversations surrounding black hair and how we show up at school and work and all that kind of stuff. I did a
I didn't
series
know
called
that.
Rooted. Huh?
I said no, I didn't know that at
Well,
all.
you're right on target, Bryce. I did a series called Rooted. We ended up winning my first Emmy for that series, and it was dope because
Good.
it was a story, to your point, where we pushed the boundaries, stories where we pushed the boundaries and made sure that we were keeping the work of the Crown Act front and center, which a lot of people have been working on that for a really long time, and that just bans race-based hair discrimination.
Mhm.
That passed last year in Texas, 2023. They're trying to get
Okay,
it
I
passed
remember you
federally.
talking about that on the
Yeah,
panel. Okay, I remember
yeah.
that. I remember that.
So a lot of work. So I'm happy that you mentioned that. I do want to go back to something that you said in regards to, um, I guess just pushing forward and pushing past what people have said is so-called the need for media training and stuff. By the way, what do people say about media training? I want to hear it on the other side because I am quote unquote media trained, but I still be out here doing my thizzle. So what do people say about media training?
I haven't really had just a whole lot of classes or specific instructions in regards to media training, but it's more so just I mean just the basics. Don't say this, be professional.
Mhm.
Um
Which is very subjective, what people mean by professionalism, by the way.
Exactly,
Hmm.
exactly. Act this certain type of way, stand this certain type of way. And I just feel like that is just all kind of washing away people's personalities and trying to fit everybody into this box. I mean, and everybody is not the same, like at all. Like, of course, don't get on camera and be acting a fool, but at the same time, show who you are. When you speak, show where you come from. I mean, what's your
Hmm.
background, like all of that. Like, I don't think any of that should be erased or watered down. I mean, because we all are individual people coming from different areas, from different cultures and all that. And I think that should be accepted. I
Okay.
very much think that so should be accepted for sure.
Yeah, let me just tell you this as somebody who has been in the media for 10 years. You don't need no media training. You are as authentic as they come, and don't let nobody tell you differently. Cause I know you run into a lot of people with the stages that you are on, but nah, bruh, you don't need no media training. You are doing phenomenal and it feels authentically you. So
I appreciate that.
yeah,
I
I just want to
appreciate
drop that little nugget in there in case anybody ever ask you about some media training. Cut it out.
Hey, look, I do want to say so. And also, my therapist kind of had a major influence on me with that, with pushing boundaries. So I
Mhm.
remember I went into a session one day, and she had kind of just got. I think she had got like the bottom half of her forearm. She got she basically like a half sleeve on her forearm,
Hmm.
and I was like, Tyler, like, do you think people gonna say anything or like try to like categorize you or stereotype you because of that? And she was like, I mean, yeah, but the only way these boundaries are gonna get broken is if people continue to push them. And I was
Mhm.
like, dang, you really right. And I mean, of course, everyone should do what they feel comfortable with or do what they want to do. Like everybody ain't gotta get a half sleeve. But if you want to show, like you said, if you want to show up on camera or show up to an event with a certain hairstyle that's specific to your culture, you for sure need to do that. And
Yep.
don't feel ashamed about it at all.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Tell me this, Bryce. What's a lesson that you feel like you've learned from failure that has really shaped how you approach life today?
From failure, that it doesn't last forever and you always gonna bounce back.
Yes. I think, man, if we could all think like that, like for real, because when you in the thick of it, you like, oh,
I'm
you
never
know.
gonna get out of this. Hey, no,
But
that's
everything
true.
that's happened, we all bounce back.
Uh,
Everything.
every single time. And as I got it, as I became older, I started realizing that, like, I started getting these experiences. I started getting older and more mature. I started looking back at all the past experience where I did fail or things didn't work out, and I started seeing, okay, I'm in this position now. This didn't work out, but this happened for me. And I'm like, at no point did I ever just stay at that low point
Yeah.
for forever. Like it never happened. Like there's ebbs and flows with life. Like everything ain't gonna be on the peak and everything ain't gonna be on the trough. Like you're gonna come out eventually. And like you said, it's
Always.
hard to see that when you're in the thick of it. But like I've had so many bad and traumatic experiences to the point to where I kind of pull back on those. I remember those. And I'm like, okay, Bryce, you remember when this happened and everything worked out just fine, if not even better than what you thought it was gonna be.
Hmm.
So
What's
I
a
kind of pull
traumatic
back.
experience that you can call? Well, I don't want to say traumatic because I don't want to bring up nothing that
Oh,
traumatized
no.
you. Because I'm like, God, dog, I ain't even say that question
Yeah,
right. No, boo, not that one, not that one. But what was an
yeah.
experience that you can recall and you was like, man, I feel like this, this is, whether it's the end of your career or it's just something in life. Like, what was an experience that you can recall where you were kind of at a point where you were like, man, I don't know how I'm gonna get out of this.
How I'm gonna get out. Shoot, I had talked about this. So I gave a speech at A&M when I graduated. And I talked about this. I went through like a major depressive episode, probably my freshman year at A&M. And like you said, when you in the thick of it, you were like, how am I gonna get out of this? Like, I don't even
Mhm.
know if it's possible to get out of this. And this was my first time I had gone through something like that. Well, I don't know if it was my first time. I think this was the first time I actually seen somebody about it. Let me say
Mm,
that. Let me
yeah,
say
right, right.
that. And I didn't have the tools to deal with it. I didn't know how I was gonna deal with it. And thankfully I got some help at that point and got up out of that, got the skills that I needed to make sure I didn't get to that point again. But I think that was probably one of the hardest things I had went through, and the fact that I came out of that and have the
What was the thing,
experience.
Bryce? What was it?
What was the thing? It was just a culmination of things. It was a lack of self-confidence, a lack of self-esteem, showing itself. It was the fact that I was on my own for the first time and constantly doubting myself.
Mhm,
Didn't know my worth, didn't know I was worth anything, all of that.
mhm.
Um, And even just building myself up, like I said, constantly keep saying, building myself up to the point that I'm at now, just like, wow, I really came out of that. Like I really got out of that. And I have no idea how I got out of it. But but I did, and I'm here. And I'm not gonna say I'm happy I went through that, but had I not gone through that, I wouldn't have the tools that I have now to get through even more significant things that may happen in the future, or I won't have anything to pull on or hold on to or remember that I came out of going forward in the future. So like I
Hmm.
said, everything don't have to be to that extent, but for sure those those low times or those hard times definitely give you something to pull from once you get out of it. It's like it definitely gave me confidence, like, wow, I really can face a lot of these issues head on and know that I can tackle them and everything will be fine going
Hmm.
forward.
Hmm. Okay, so let's get away from the low times and the hard times. Okay, we're gonna do a hard left turn, right turn, I should say.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I, of course, I do a lot of research coming into these types of interviews, and so as I was looking at some of your videos on YouTube,
Mhm.
videos about you, I should say, on YouTube, there was one video. I don't know if you go and Google your name and you see what people say or whatever the case may be. It was a
Mhm.
video. It was a video. And after you won at the Olympics, was it after the Olympics or was it when you got the national title, your first national
Was it
title?
US championships?
Maybe, but after the whatever it was like a year later. You came back under this video and you was like, yeah, refer to me as some. I don't remember the exact words, but basically, oh man, I'm gonna have to find it.
I
But
said that. Look,
it
I'm trying
wasn't, you
to
didn't
think
say,
what
let me say, I'm paraphrasing. You know, I'm a journalist. I'm gonna get it right. So it was not refer to me as blah, blah, blah. But it basically came back. The video was out about you either not getting to a certain point or whatever the case may be a year before that particular race. And then all of a sudden, obviously, not all of a sudden, because I'm sure you worked very, very, very hard to get there, but
Mhm.
you came back under that video of from this person. It was a guy, I don't know where he's based out of. He does all of just track news. And I'm
Mhm.
about to find it, Bryce. Don't worry. Hold on. You can't see what I'm doing, but I'm about to YouTube this
Okay.
and find this video because
I was
I
like,
was
what did
like,
I
go ahead
say?
on, Bryce. I'm over here like rooting for you. I'm like, yeah, yeah. What you say? What you had said? Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. I do want to ask you though, while I'm looking for this, what is it like for you to stand on that podium? You know, after you guys have accomplished such a crazy feat, like what is it like for you to stand up there?
It's just like, wow. I don't know.
Hmm.
Like I keep telling people it feels surreal. It's just like, oh, like damn, I'm at the Olympics on a podium holding holding a gold medal. Like out of all the people in this world that this could have happened to, like I'm up here. That is like that shit is crazy.
Yeah.
it,
Yeah. No,
it
straight
is
up.
very crazy.
Straight
It is
up.
extremely crazy. I mean, and like I said, like sometimes I just be thinking to myself, like out of all the people,
Sorry. Hold on, Bryce. I got a
okay,
whole nother computer over here that I don't know how to work.
okay.
Hold on. Look, hold on. Now, how I turn this down? Not me acting real old right now and not knowing how to work stuff. That's crazy work right there. Crazy work. Hold on, because I want to. Oh, there you go. I can turn it down right there. Okay, so I'm sorry, Bryce. Continue on. Standing up there on that podium.
Oh yeah, no, it's sometimes I just tell myself, especially when I'm up there, I'm just like, wow, out of all the people who I grew up with, all the people who were around me who were just as talented, if not more talented than me at specific points in time, it's like, how in the world did I get up here?
Hmm.
I be thinking that to myself all the
No,
time, like
man.
how?
You worked hard. That's how you got there, man. You worked hard and you deserve every bit of it. I am struggling to find this post that I want and now I'm going to be annoyed. So when I find it, you better believe I'm going to let you know. It's going to
Okay.
pop up at some point.
Yeah,
But
no,
anyway, I was
I
doing
wanna know
research
what I
and
said.
cuz
I'm like
you talked earlier when we first got on here, you talked about how you were seeing a lot of the comments from people when they said whatever they wanted to say about the third leg on the mixed relay. So I was wondering when it comes to what some could say is public scrutiny sometimes, right? When you don't perform, and
Mhm.
that really bothers me because when it comes to athletes or anybody that's in a performance based role, when you don't perform, you watch how quickly people can turn on you.
No,
So
100%.
how do you deal with the public? What can be public scrutiny sometimes of being in that role? That's why I was trying to find the video because you went back under that post and it wasn't anything negative. You was just like, whatever your role was at the time. And I was like, okay, Bryce, I love it. But how do you deal with that? Public scrutiny.
I've learned that the media you consume, the content that you consume, anything that you consume, whether you believe it or not, if you are constantly consuming it on a consistent basis, it will play a factor in what you start believing about yourself. Like, I don't
Mhm.
care how strong you believe you are or how tough you think you are. If you constantly immerse yourself in that and take all of that in on a consistent basis, just at the fact that you irritated or upset or you don't agree with what people say, you will start believing it to a certain extent. So I've learned to not even engage with it and to remove myself from it for a period of time until I've done what I need to do or I'm in a better headspace for sure. Um
Okay. I think, Bryce, let me see.
uh,
I think I may have found the video, but hold on. Okay, now I know I ain't crazy, Bryce. Did you go delete the comment while we've been on here?
no. I
I'm
was
just
look,
kidding.
I was really trying to figure out what you was talking about because I'm like,
Do you ever remember commenting on a YouTube video?
I don't know. I
Bryce,
don't. I don't. I'm
man,
not I'm not saying I could not have though. I could have been in the moment. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna say something to these people on this
I am
video.
so annoyed with myself that I can't find this. See, now I know, like, in the future when I'm doing these, save the freaking link. Save the link. But anyway, it wasn't nothing crazy, and I wanna be very clear in that for anybody that's watching, it was nothing crazy. It was just like, you was like, "No, I'm blah, blah, blah now." And so, anyway, they need to whatever. If I find it, Imma let you know. Don't worry
Yeah,
about it.
no, but you send that to me once you find it for sure.
Yes. Now, Bryce, I ain't gonna spend all my time looking for it, but if I find
Okay,
it,
okay,
I'll let
okay.
you know. I promise you. I promise you. So I want to talk about your community involvement. So obviously, a man of Omega Sci-Fi. Did that influence your career at all? And your personal growth?
100%, a hundred
Okay.
percent, 100%.
Okay.
I would say after I crossed, I definitely started getting involved, especially in more on-campus activities and organizations, and that carried well outside of after I graduated as well. For instance, I'm a part of the Houston NAACP chapter right now,
Wow.
or even just finding different stuff to volunteer and become a part of. Like, I remember when I was crossing. I was on the track team, and my other LBs were just so accomplished. One of my line brothers was president of the Black Student Association, BSAC. I know what you know what BSAC is. He was
Yeah.
president of BSAC at the time. Another one of my line brothers, he had one. I forgot. It's like an outstanding student award at Texas A&M. I forgot
Mm.
what the name of it is.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they was a part of all of these organizations on campus. And I remember they asked me what I do, and I was like, shoot, I mean, I run I run track. I mean,
Bryce, I'm so happy you started going to that there because you run track, bruh. You are that guy. I'm sure they were looking at you like, oh, he an athlete. You know what I
I
mean?
mean,
Like he an
shoot,
athlete, he cold. Like, are you kidding me?
I
What?
mean, they might have, but I was looking at them the same way. And like I said, I'm glad that I became a part of Omega Sci-Fi because it
Mm-mm.
opened me up to so many different avenues to go into or to become involved in. Like, I was extremely impressed with my line brothers and what they was doing 100%. Even
That's
my pro
beautiful.
fights and what they was telling me they was doing on campus or what they was doing once they graduated, I was like, wow, like it's like life is more than just sport. And I feel like
Yeah.
as an athlete, especially going into college, everyone has dreams of going pro.
Right.
Um, and not saying that you should ever let go of that dream by any stretch of the meaning, but I mean, there's so much more to becoming a whole a whole person outside of just your sport. And
Mm-hmm.
I definitely believe they opened me up to that for sure. 100%.
Oh, I love that. So the Olympics, obviously the pinnacle of athletics, and you talk about how Omega Sci-Fi was at least one of the groups that open you up to really thinking outside and bigger than just being involved in your sport. What dreams do you have for life beyond the track?
Beyond the track, that is a very good question. That is an extremely good question.
Thank you.
I do want to start. So one of my dreams is I want to start a nonprofit in just around the south side of Houston, in like the third ward, Sunnyside, South Park area.
Mhm.
Growing up, I just saw all these people who were able to afford like private trainers or private facilities, And I started realizing like a lot of parents can dump money onto their kids, which is good if you're in that position. But a lot of these people in these low income areas can't even compete anymore at this point because it's just like a lot of these parents in these middle class or high class areas are able to just dump money into their kids' sports and get
Hmm.
them to a level to where they're able to get scholarships. And like I just be seeing the facilities that some of these kids be practicing at, and I'm
Yep.
like, these facilities is nice, but I also understand that everybody can't afford this. And so I have a goal one day to open a facility that's only allows people from these low income areas to train in. I mean, and they're gonna be nice, they're gonna have solid coaching and all of that. That's one of my goals that
That's
I have once
awesome.
I end up, yeah, once I end up not running track again. And outside of that, I don't know. I don't know. I always thinking that that's definitely one of my main goals. But outside of that, I have no idea. I kind of just want to see where everything takes me while I'm running track.
Yeah.
What avenues open up, what I'm exposed to, etc. I have no idea.
I don't know who your agent
I
is,
always said
but
I
they
would.
need to get you on that speaking circuit. That's for sure. As an
You said
avenue.
the
I'm just saying. Yes. Absolutely.
I don't know.
Absolutely.
We'll see what opportunities present themselves once as the years come.
Okay. All right. Now, you know I'm gonna be looking. I got your number. Okay. Okay, so we hear this often, Bryce, and I'm sure you've heard it a lot, especially in the position that you're in. Representation matters. What do you hope
Hmm.
young Black athletes see when they watch you compete? But not only that, when they watch you just in everyday life and how you choose to treat people, because you mentioned how when as you were growing up, people that I don't know if they were all people you looked up to, but people that were in, the height of whatever they are doing, right? And they weren't treating people
Hmm.
the right way. So what do you hope young Black athletes see when they see you compete and outside of the track, off the track, I should say?
When they see me compete, I think the main thing is like I think a lot of people have this idea that an athlete or an elite athlete in whatever sport that they play is just like some larger than life person. And I mean, shoot, even sometimes my friends be asking me this. Like for instance, I went back to A&M this weekend for this A&M UT game, and people,
You
I
went.
had someone come up to me talking about I thought you was gonna be acting different. I'm like, bro, like what is you talking
That's
about?
weird. I hope
I
that
just
wasn't a
want people
close
to
friend because they need to go on about their business. Oh,
no, no, no. It wasn't a close friend, but it was someone I was definitely cool with when I was at
yeah,
A&M. But
yeah.
I just want people to understand like the possibility is also open to you to excel
Mhm.
to the same level. Like you don't have to be some larger than life or superstitious type figure to accomplish major things in life at all. Like it
Mhm.
can be me, it can be you. I be telling younger people all the time, like, hopefully you better than me. Hopefully you get past the levels that I've gotten to, like, and it is a real possibility because I was at your point at one time, and I was probably way worse than you were. Well, not that they're bad, but I was probably like not even a thought of making it to the levels I've reached at your age. So, like, I mean, it
Mhm.
can happen to you just the same way it happened to me. Like, it is not impossible at all. Not even close to being impossible.
No, I love that. I love that. In line with all that advice, what is one piece of advice, Bryce, that you'd give to someone facing their own race, whether it's in sports, in life, or overcoming personal obstacles?
Some advice.
Hmm. I mean, you've given us a lot, but a little advice
uh
to somebody running their own race.
for somebody running their own race.
Oh my God, that could be the title of your book, Run Your Own
Run
Race.
your own race. Now that
Oh
is
my
cold.
God. That can apply to so many different people, bro. Okay, whatever. I'm just saying. Anyways, advice.
I would I would say everything is gonna work out for you
Mhm.
when it's supposed to work out for you. Like it could be next year, it could be 5 years, it could be 10 years from now. But if you have it set in your mind and you're constantly making efforts to reach it, it will happen for you. It
Yeah.
will happen for you. And wake up every morning thinking you the coldest thing since sliced bread. Like like you have to. Hey, I'm being so for real. Like you got to like wake up in the morning and just think you the coldest thing ever. Like, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, no, of course, don't think you above nobody, but understand that you just as cold as anybody that did
That
it
part.
before.
That's
Yeah, no,
good.
every single day, every single day. I got this. I'm gonna do this. Everything gonna work out. Even if it was a bad day, shoot. I mean, it's just one day. In the grand scheme of things, if one day is gonna knock me off from my course, then it was a bigger issue at hand. Like,
Ooh,
yeah.
Bryce. Oh, you gonna help somebody. Oh, that was good,
Yeah, no,
man.
it's like it's literally just one day in the grand scheme of things. Like it's not a death sentence. Everything is gonna work out, and I'm
Wow.
still cold.
Period. Now we gotta tell the people, hey, you gotta wake up every day like you the coldest thing out there.
Like you
I
go
love
every
that.
day,
I
every day,
love that.
every day.
Any last words, Bryce, that you want to leave the folks with?
Nah, not that I can think of. We didn't cover a lot. You didn't
I
ask some really
know.
good questions too.
Thank you. I've been doing this a little while. I do want to ask you one last thing because I'm gonna make this a habit of asking all of my guests.
Mhm.
What makes you loud and clear about who you are and what you believe in?
What makes me loud and clear about who I am and what I believe in? Uh, okay. When you ask this, are you asking about like a personal belief, a personal situation,
A
a
personal
family
belief.
member,
A
a
personal
personal
belief.
belief? A personal belief that makes me loud about who I am and where I'm gonna get to
And what you believe in.
and
Hmm.
what I believe in. Um,
Or I can rephrase it like this. How about this? When you hear loud and clear, what does that mean to you?
when I hear loud and clear, what does that mean to me? This is a good question, Tashara.
You got it.
What is that? I'll say this. Um, I'm only one man on this earth, but I have my purpose. Um, I'm only one man on this earth. I have my purpose, and whatever I set my mind to will be accomplished before I leave this earth. And I mean, shoot, that kind of what keeps me going on a day-to-day basis.
Good stuff. Okay.